How did you lose your virginity? 26 extremely intense seconds. Missionary. I finished sweating over her, panting. Asked her, did you come too? Like a freaking idiot. Doggy style with chitty chitty bang bang on in the background. It was as awkward as it sounds. Lost it with my second girlfriend. I was her first boyfriend, so she made me wait almost 2 years. She was going to move away to the US cause of the aftermath of a hurricane, so we decided to do it in case the long distance was too much. Both of us were virgins. A girl caught my eye at a college dance. I had previously spoken to her once before and complimented her Zelda shirt. I talked to her all evening, then invited her back to my apartment to show her Breath of the Wild, which had just come out. We play until 5 in the morning. I regretted not making a move. I invited her over for Zelda again the next evening, and we stayed up until 5 in the morning doing something different. In the movie theater during Too Fast, Too Furious, Shrek's was the same. Met a girl online. Flew across the US. Met her. Didn't do anything. Continued to talk. Flew over again 6 months later. Had Shrek's with her the first night. This was in like 1999, I think. In a public bathroom with my girl best friend. It was nice. Really classy. On a Tinder date, I told the girl that I was not a virgin. In hindsight, she most definitely should have realized I was lying. Romantic evening with candles. 06/17/09. Lasted about 30 seconds. Last day of my freshman year in college with my lab partner. She was very sweet, and I never saw her again. When I returned to my own dorm shortly afterwards, my folks were waiting for me. Awkward. At a party where I was the one guy under 21 and she was the one girl under 21. To an Irish girl in a hotel room in Spain in 1997. Vodka was involved. Me and my girlfriend told her archery coach that my mom wanted me home early and she was my ride. We snuck into the Arby's parking lot and went at it in the back seat of her Nissan Rogue. I was 18, finally met up with my long-distance girlfriend. We got a hotel suite for a week near where she lived and basically didn't leave it except for food the whole time. Traveled to see a girl. Turns out she was a massive itch in person and I ended up hanging out with her friend instead, who I also knew. Ended up in her dorm room watching movies. One was Fight Club, because I haven't seen it before. I still haven't seen Fight Club. In the parking lot of a Facilis right after church, because my Catholic girlfriend felt bad about doing it before church. Lol. In my girlfriend's parents' bed over Memorial Day weekend. It was weird. Lost it in a movie theater when we saw no one else was in there. Didn't know the staff could see us on camera, so they moaned at us when we walked out and I ran out of the theater so fast. Ended up waiting to get picked up in the rain, because I was so embarrassed. Back of her parents' van. In a Walmart parking lot. Black Eyed Peas were playing on the radio. Makes me laugh every time I think about it. In a grass field with my childhood best friend's sister. Was 15F dating 15 meters. First love. Walked into his room one day. Looked him in the eyes and just took off my pants. Lol. I had been so nervous and overthinking that I went with the rip those pants off like a band-aid method. I was 15. My first girlfriend and I went to the movie theater and walked around our local town center afterwards. Around 7 or 8 p.m. when it was dark, we walked behind one of the stores, Best Buy I believe, and had Shrek's in their loading dock. I remember it was really cold and extremely uncomfortable. Horrible experience and would not recommend. To my girlfriend, now wife of 7 years, though I met her when she was 13 when we were both teens and started dating sometime later. She was also a virgin. Lost it with my current boyfriend 2 years ago. We were dating for 6 months beforehand and went on a hike for my birthday to my favorite hot springs inside of a slot canyon. It was dark by the time we got to the end where the hot springs were, and no one else was there. We had Shrek's half in and half out of the hot spring. It was a genuinely awesome experience. As we were hiking out, it started pouring and we had to legitimately book it back from this 3-mile hike through a slot canyon to get out. This normally takes about 3 hours to navigate with rock climbing and dangerous terrains even when dry. We made it out in about 1.5 hours running as we were worried about flooding, which, yes, can happen quickly. Thankfully, we made it out unscathed. We'll definitely check the weather next time. It was one of the coolest adrenaline rush experiences I've ever had, and I am very lucky to have had such a great time. In college with a good guy friend, we both had a crush on each other. One day we were making out and I told him I was a virgin and wanted him to teach me. It was a surprisingly comfortable and amazing experience. 3-way with girlfriend and a guy she's now married to. Looking back on it, what the frick? At my brother's wedding, I was 15. She was 28. Didn't realize until years later how fricked up it actually was. She didn't know I was 15. I looked 19/20. To a girl I'd known since middle school. She was at a sleepover with some friends her freshman year of high school. Got a phone call at like 2 a.m. from her and her friends asking if I can get them beer. I had a case from a party and THR fridge in my room. I was living with my aunt and uncle and they really didn't care if I drank. So I drove over to her friend's house, and it's like 6 girls having a mini party basically. Her parents were gone. They had me park a block away cause no guys is rule, and snuck in. Well, they all thanked me and of course the topic of Shreks comes up. Well, Katie and I both admit that we are virgins, so the committee decides we should have Shreks. We were both down. So frick it, let's frick. So yeah, my first time I had an audience. Still friends with Katie to this day. I hang out with her and her wife quite often. I turned my back on it for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and it wandered off. When I was 13, my dad was a truck driver who was gone most of the week, but back on weekends. In the quest for more money, he decided to become an owner/operator LHT with Prime, which would keep him on the road for months at a time. My dad decided he didn't want to be away from my stepmom for that long, so she got her CDL and went with him. My stepmom's friend Rami moved in to watch me and my 3 brothers and brought her 2 daughters with her, one 17 and one 19. The 19-year-old called me up to her room one day and asked me if I knew how to eat pussy. I told her no, and she asked me if I wanted to learn. I was a honey 13-year-old, so of freaking course I thought I hit the jackpot. I went down on her and then we had some very brief penetration where I came inside her almost immediately upon entering her. The fun part besides the statutory sexual assault was since I had no clue about condoms and whatnot. She missed her period the next month and I got my first pregnancy scare at the ripe age of 13 years old. She didn't end up being pregnant, but it was definitely a heavy burden weighing on my mind for quite a bit. Well, I lost mine on a race car bed. He was 17 and his room was decked out with Hot Wheels. To an escort, I had hired her for an hour. After 5 minutes of kissing, she touches my dong and I came right away. We cuddled for half an hour. At that point it was the best thing I have ever tried. I then got hard again and she rode me for another 5 minutes before I came again. We spent the rest of the time talking, kissing, and cuddling. I was 25 years old at the time. 19 years old in my current boyfriend's bedroom. He was very patient with me and I had to ask him to stop cause it was hurting too much. Met a girl on Tumblr, talked for a few months. I visited her in Canada after saving for a while. I'm from England. Lost my virginity with her. A year later we're still together and she's living with me now. To the woman who became my wife, a night of drinking at a bar. Not abnormal, turned into us going back to her place, also not abnormal, but the making out was different that night. We gave in, and it was a spiritual experience. We've been together for over 20 years, smiley face. Freaking hell, the post has been up for 4 minutes already. 2 people have said without consent. Probably pretty standard stuff here. 17 with my 16-year-old girlfriend in my room. We had been together for about a year and a half and had done virtually everything but the deed together at that point. We were cuddling naked and making out and doing the usual rubbing bit, and as we rubbing with her on top it kind of just went inside her unplanned. We went for about 2 minutes, then decided to stop. because we didn't really do the whole condom thing or check with each other if it was okay that we had normally been doing up until that point with what was going on, because she had a few past sexual traumas. Also, we didn't have a condom on, because it was unplanned. First time for both of us. In hindsight, I'm lucky that I didn't fap unexpectedly at that age and was able to pull back and stop. About a month later we did the same, but more planned out. Decided what we both wore that day. Went for fancy dinner and a walk. Wrote each other letters. All that cheesy teenager stuff. Lasted a grand total of 2 minutes maybe. No big deal. Just kept doing other stuff until next round. It's only awkward if you make it that way. I lost it at a house party with some girl I hadn't met before that night. I was 16 and she was 19 and my friends at the party organized the whole thing. They got me drunk, gave me Shrek's advice, got advice how to eat pussy from a gay man, and threw me in a room with her and locked the door from the outside. We did our thing after some confusion on my part, and when we were let out of the room I was informed everyone at the party was watching us through the bedroom window. I stuffed several Big Macs into a Pringles can and went to town. Date sexually assault after the prom. I didn't report it, because I was convinced I'd be the one in trouble. I didn't lose it until my 22nd birthday. My girlfriend at the time wanted to make it special since I was older than normal losing it and it was my birthday, so she gets us a nice hotel room for the night and goes all out for us since she hadn't had Shreks in about a year, and let's just say we only left the room to get another box of condoms and got a bigger box and used all but one of them.